tell me what you're working on now. I know you're working on a gang of stuff, but what's your next brain baby?
The one that's exciting me the most right now is I started a podcast. I started a daily-ish podcast,
Nice.
meaning
I like the lack of commitment.
Yes, the lack of commitment. So you'll get something every other day, but once a week I have a segment on there called Through the Mud. And what I'm doing is I'm talking to people that I know, and they're sharing their stories through the mud. And the goal with that is, especially the last year being such an isolating situation for so many people, is I want people to know that whatever they're going through, they're not alone. And hearing other people be vulnerable, be authentic, share the different type of mud that they've had to crawl through, had to dig through to kind of get out the other side, and what type of insights, wisdom, and tools they gained on that journey. I'm having so much fun doing it. My first interview was with my sister. And,
That's crazy. Was it no awkwardness at all? Like, it wasn't like talking about deep, vulnerable stuff with your sister?
You know what? It wasn't awkward in any way, but I learned a lot, as we grow older, your sister's your sister, but like to hear her story, she's gone through everything from, she's a cancer survivor. She's had a miscarriage. She's gone through the ending of a marriage, and to hear her be so resilient and enthusiastic about sharing that story, knowing that it may save somebody months and months of heartache, to hear it from her perspective, hear how she dealt with it. And, I've been talking to so many people and finding so many common threads like gratitude. Expressing gratitude helps us through hard times. Finding the humor in things, focusing on servicing other people. And I'm a really big believer that, we all are living the same stories. And the more we communicate that with each other, the more we'll build a connectedness and a closeness, and the less we'll feel alone.
That's super, super dope. While you were talking there, my mind was like, I'm gonna steal all of this and put it in a caption for Instagram. I was like, this is a great Instagram caption, and I'm gonna steal it from Humble Poet. So if you ask people on your podcast about their experiences and what mud they've gone through, I want to reverse and ask you, so Humble the Poet, what mud have you gone through in your life to make you who you are?
My earliest memory of anxiety was, playing outside and then having my sister come up to me, and her just being a year older than me at that time. So I'm maybe 4, she's 5, and she's like, somebody beat up dad. And immediately thinking in my head, the cartoon version of violence, thinking, getting beat up looks funny, it's not a big deal. And my father, he's a cab driver, and he drove at nights. So the rule was, don't make any noise during the day, because dad sleeps during the day. So we would always play outside. So I was outside, I remember this vividly, and sneaking into his room while he slept, to see. And, seeing a really big gash on his forehead, seeing, the discolorations on his face, the bruises and stuff like that, never having experienced that as a child. And, getting a stomach ache off of that. And then, getting subsequent stomach aches every time he went to work. Because you learn that this happened when he went to work because he was a taxi driver and somebody tried to steal his money. Underneath that surface, because as children, we can't process and understand this stuff, it lingered in there. And I felt like I'm realizing just in the past couple of years how much that had an impact on me in terms of what I decided to do with my life, how much I resented the fact that he had to drive a cab, what I wanted to do in terms of my career to make money so he could retire. And, it all came back full circle when he ended up retiring on his own, success. And, I had to miss his retirement party because I was out working still. And realizing that, I created a chip on my shoulder from his experience, realizing that was part of his journey.
You're like deep and smart, eh? You're like a deep,
I'm an
smart
Instagram
person.
caption generator.
Yeah, you're a generator, bro. Straight good. You do so you write, you're an author, you write, I see you have your books on wonderful display in the background there, I love it.
Oh yeah, conveniently right there.
Yeah, just conveniently right there, yeah. Books, music, all the things. What would you say is the common thread that ties all of your work together?
A love of learning, simplicity, honesty, and accessibility. So before I was a full-time artist, I used to be an elementary school teacher. And, the big thing I learned from teaching was accessibility. If you're working with a student, if they don't get it, that's your responsibility, not theirs. So you have to change the way that you approach it. And that's what I've been doing with my books, where the chapters are each, very short, 2 pages each, having big, bold quotes that, understanding that people's attention spans are changing over time as well. and make sure everybody enjoys the experience of art too, because art is just adding more beauty to the world.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you for being on the show. For everyone watching at home, one of my closest friends, please support whenever his podcast comes out soonish. I'll make sure it happens soonish. It's called Humble the Poet Daily-ish. Also follow him across socials. You will not regret it. Humble, always a joy.
Such a pleasure being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my God, thank you so much for watching the show. If you click here, I think you can subscribe to the channel. If you click over here, more clips just like this one. Click them.